Welcome to Inventures, the podcast where we invite creative minds to invent the ultimate immersive adventure. I'm your host, Alex, and today we're stepping into the Inventures workshop with a very special guest, David Middleton. David is a seasoned escape room and live-action game designer with over 10 years of experience crafting entertaining and interactive worlds. He's the founder of Bewilderbox Escape Rooms in Brighton, co-organiser of the UK Escape Room Industry Conference, ERIC, and has created over 50 gamified projects with his company Rebel Brain. From large-scale events with thousands of players to tiny tabletop games, IP tie-ins with brands like Peaky Blinders, Paddington and Roald Dahl's The Witches, and even a toilet escape room at Glastonbury Festival called the Turdis. Me and Dave go back quite a way, actually, so those 10 years of gaming experience coincides with almost exactly when I met you.
I think they do. I think it must have been year one. It was before Bewilderbox actually opened. We met at a escape room meetup, an unconference in London. It was sort of the early days of the escape room industry, and we met there. And we went and played a game that afternoon. I remember
That's right. We played Home Escape. Is that right? Yeah, that was just up the road, and yeah, that was probably 2016.
It was a good time, wasn't it?
It was a good year.
Good time.
It was a good year. So yes, we'd just done Langstrath's Last Riddle and you were just about to open Builderbox. So for those who haven't met you, what immersive worlds have you brought to life and what was your role in it?
So I've worked on quite a lot of immersive and gamified projects, but my first project and the main one which I created was Bewilderbox Escape Rooms in Brighton. So we have two games. The first one, The Initiative, opened in 2016. The second one, Judgment Day, opened in 2017 maybe. And they were open with my business partner at the time, David Staffel, and our aim was to take escape rooms and inject a sense of silliness, a sense of humour, and bring in actors to do the briefing and the story side of things to kind of make them more interactive and immersive. So that's kind of the main thing which I did, the first thing that I did, and since then I've done the toilet escape rooms and various other events and other things. But that's my world.
What was the favourite one you worked on?
Do you know what? It's probably actually is the Turdis, which is such a silly thing. And
explain the Turdis.
Oh yeah, okay. So my wife and business partner Sarah, we would go to Glastonbury every single year. We love festivals, and we conceived of this idea. We had the word Portaclue, and then we had the Turdis, and we conceived of this ridiculous idea of doing an escape room in a toilet. And as can happen with ridiculous ideas, it became reality. It's basically a 10 to 15 minute escape room that happens inside a portaloo. We've built obviously puzzles and stuff inside, and it's bookended with a ridiculous story about Dr. Pooh and his assistant number 2, who are two time traveling idiots who enjoy finding the universe's greatest parties. Spoiler alert, it's at whatever festival we're at in whatever year it is. And the players are tasked with finding the cosmic proton nuggets, which are required to fix the flush capacitor, allowing them to go back to their own world or back to the beginning of the festival to do it over and over again.
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant idea.
We've been doing it for the last 4 years. We've done other festivals and events, and it's ridiculously silly and a lot of fun to run.
I can attest that it's true, and having played Dr. Pooh on one occasion, at Glastonbury, 4 days, it was a lot of fun and a great way to get to that festival. And you get to camp backstage, which is amazing. Feel like you're part of it. And not that many drunk people. I was expecting more drunk people.
No, well, we're very careful with how we do it. At Glastonbury in particular, it's in the circus and theatre area, so it generally attracts a different crowd. And also, we had the smart idea to make it so even though we run walk-up slots, you have to book it earlier on in the day. So most of the people that are around ready to book a slot at 10 o'clock in the morning are not the sort of people that have had a late night the night before, and B, they're quite well organised, which by proxy means that they're usually well behaved. Yeah. And also, hey, you're at a festival having a fun time. People are there to have a laugh.
Let's dive into your all-time favourite immersive attraction and kind of how it affected you in your life.
Okay, so I think for me, would you count this as an immersive attraction? I'm gonna go with it anyway. I can have whatever answers I want, right?
Of course.
It's probably the Natural History Museum in London, and very specifically the robotic velociraptors there. Have you seen them?
Are they there now?
They're still there now. They've updated them. They've added some feathers because they couldn't afford to get new ones. I guess
Did they add them in the sort of Jurassic Park era?
Yeah, I think it was the early 90s. They've got the T-Rex now, which is the kind of, that's the showpiece, and the velociraptors are still there. They're kind of, you can tell now that they're a bit old and a bit rubbish, and their movements are kind of like, they do that jerky thing, their heads turning from left to right. And
yeah, there's something quite sad about a half-broken animatronic.
I don't think they're necessarily broken. I think they're probably always like that. Yeah. But I remember vividly seeing those and just thinking, oh my God, this is absolutely awesome, because it was one of the first times in my life where something which I had imagined, something that seemed inconceivable that it could exist in reality, was there in front of me. So I think that had quite an effect on me. I love dinosaurs. I still love dinosaurs. I love Jurassic Park. It's the best film of all time. As a kid, I was obsessed with dinosaur books. And so to see something like that I could look at, that was in the room with me, just kind of blew my mind. It was incredible, and it's something that's stayed with me. And up until that point, I'd been to Black Gang Chine on the Isle of Wight. I've been to Crystal Palace dinosaurs. They're all, do you know what I mean? There's those weird old kind of 80s.
They don't quite make any sense. Yeah.
No, they're still very charming, but they're not, correct in any way. So it'd just been those. But seeing these robotic dinosaurs moving just blew my mind. I was like, this is magic.
How old were you?
I've got no idea. I would have been 10-ish, maybe a bit younger than that. I couldn't tell you exactly when it was.
So, favourite attraction, would be the Natural History Museum, but specifically those dinosaurs.
And the dinosaur exhibition as a whole. It's not the rock section. Rocks are cool and everything, especially those ones, but not really interested.
I like that. It's a very simple one to choose, I think.
What is the
dinosaurs? Yeah, just some animatronic dinosaurs, basically.
Yeah. Well, it's what captures. I guess it's what kind of captures your imagination.
Would it be the first time you ever saw animatronics, do you think?
Yeah, I think so. Oh, well, maybe possibly like It's a Small World. Not It's a Small World. What's the one at Chessington? Professor Burp's Bubble Works.
I haven't seen that, but yeah.
Yeah, it's probably for the best that you didn't. It was fine. It was perfectly fine. Maybe there, but the first time I saw something that was like, wow, this is cool.
Did you think they were real, or were you just like, I just love the fact they're moving?
No, I just love the fact they were moving, and they had rubber or latex or whatever. I don't know what the skin would have been made of. It was the fact that as far as I was concerned, it was a real dinosaur that was in front of me. Well, sorry, when I say a real dinosaur, it was something that was the size of a dinosaur, that moved like a dinosaur, that looked like a dinosaur, it was badass. Who doesn't like dinosaurs?
And so ever since then, is there anything that's sort of overtaken? Has anyone come close to that? Like any sort of more modern attraction that you've been to, that sort of captured the essence of what happened there?
It's really hard. Like we talk, I've had this conversation a lot about like your favourite escape room, your favourite immersive attraction, and I think it's very hard for things like you go and do something, and because of when you do it, it's amazing and stands out, and that can never be beaten. There's like a nostalgia. So like Marvo Mysteries was one of the first escape rooms that I did, that I was like, this is elevated, this is so cool, this is so brilliant, and for that reason it will always be one of my favourite escape rooms. Have I played games since then that are, I don't know, more technologically impressive or larger or have more interesting puzzles? Probably, possibly, I don't know, but because of when I did that always stands out. Recently, with you, in fact, we went to Bad Steben and played the Dreamlabs games, Metropolis 2099. That really stood out to me. That was, an incredible experience in terms of, similarly to the dinosaur story, actually, stepping into a world that had previously perhaps only existed in my imagination. It was so well realised, and the set design, the props, the story, the way it played out, everything was so perfect and so amazing. And the fact that it exists as I guess it is an escape room, but it's also obviously very much an immersive experience. But when I say escape room, I mean it's one group of people going through. It's not like a sort of pipeline situation, or it's not you in there with lots of other people. It's sort of, you get to have your own intimate you get to tell your own story with your group, and you share that with your group. And yeah, that kind of blew my mind. It was the same thing. It was realizing that something like this could exist and that you could step into it.
Yeah, I also thought it was excellent, especially the Metropolis 2999. There is also a animatronic in it that, not to give anything away, is one of the best bits of any game I've ever played.
I concur. Yeah. Hashtag no spoilers.
Hashtag no spoilers. So, Dave, the big one. If budget, time, or physics were not an issue, what immersive creation would you make? And how would you launch it? Where would you do it? And what would make it a hit?
Okay. Well, obviously I've thought about this quite a lot. For the last 10 years, and I can tell you now, I can give you the title. It's called Dinosaurs in Space. We're going with that sort of snakes on a plane style vibe. And it would be a large-scale walkthrough escape room / immersive experience, which essentially combines two of my favourite movie properties, which is Jurassic Park, as I've already mentioned, and the Aliens movies. So we'd be taking the aliens and replacing them with velociraptors. There's probably some story about illegal cloning going on off planet, because that's the only place you can do it. All those tropes, frozen dinosaurs, etc., etc. Replacing the alien queen with the T-Rex. Where would it be? Probably I'd put it in Worthing or Brighton, so I wouldn't have to go too far, like from my own house, to run it. I don't think it actually has to be in space. If I don't have to consider physics, I guess there could definitely be a zero gravity section as well. But yeah, I really like the idea of doing something which is terrifying and a spectacle, but also funny. It would have to be funny. Everything that I do usually has humour in some capacity. And it would definitely end with you blowing a dinosaur out of an airlock.
Would it just be called Dinosaurs in Space?
Yes, that's the only thing that is certain about it, is it's definitely called Dinosaurs in Space.
It's certainly bold.
I've not played yet any dinosaur themed immersive experiences or games that I've really felt like hit the mark, that scratched the itch for me. I don't really know that many. I got really excited when Universal Studios had basically two of the greatest properties you could possibly have to do something with, Jurassic Park and Back to the Future, made them both into escape rooms, and I only really heard bad things about both of those.
Yeah, and I have done both, and the Jurassic World one is better than the Back to the Future one, but I thought both were disappointing. And yeah, I think you would probably have enjoyed the Jurassic World one in terms of the set and the sound. There, in terms of like animatronic dinosaurs, I don't think there are any, unfortunately. It's all done on screens and audio, as far as I know. And so, I think the thing is with dinosaurs, I'm sure it's just very hard to do something with dinosaurs. Well, there is an example that Paddington did do, Dino World, where it was a big, huge escape room they did. It was like 2 hours long, I think. One of the first games, actually, I think, to even do that length. And they had someone in a dinosaur costume as part of it. Unfortunately, I never got to do it.
I did it.
Oh, you did it?
I did it. I didn't solve any puzzles. I literally spent the whole time running around with a toy gun shouting Jurassic Park quotes at my teammates. And I had a really great time. And it was a fun experience. But there's not been anything that I'm aware of that's nailed it with the dinosaurs. Like, I want animatronics. I want good animatronics, or a puppet or something like that. But something that's been done well. And every now and again, you see something pop up, like on a I don't know, Escape the Review, which is a review website, which enthusiasts vote on, or I'll see a post online. But there's just nothing that I'm aware of that is supposed to be top tier. It needs to be made, and it needs to be combined with space as well.
Do you have a storyline at all?
I've told you the storyline. Okay. Dinosaurs in Space. That's the story.
Okay. So yeah, it really is Snakes on a Plane concept piece. It doesn't really matter what the story is. No,
it's a loving tribute to the Alien movies and Jurassic Park. It would involve cloning dinosaurs in space. There was one other than blowing the one of the dinosaurs out of an airlock, which is an essential component. There was another piece which I liked the idea of, and I have to confess, this is not my idea. This was an idea that was brought to me by Simon Stokes from Escapologic in Nottingham. And I was telling him, as I used to tell everybody, about dinosaurs in space. I'm going to make dinosaurs in space, dinosaurs in space. And he said, I had this idea once, which you could use for this, which is that you have characters that exist as NPCs. And you're never in the same section as them. You know the bit in the sort of space movie where you're talking to a character who's on the bridge and you're talking to another character in engineering, and you would get these characters, you direct them to do things and they could fix things or whatever it is you need them to do. You direct them strategically around to complete your mission. But then there would come a moment when you had to make a choice between which of these characters you would have to sacrifice for one reason or another. Maybe there's a dinosaur that's got into the bloody engineering bay, or maybe it's because there's not enough oxygen for Gary on the bridge to breathe or whatever. I don't really know, but I really liked that idea. I liked the idea of doing something silly and over the top, but also scary at times, and then having that decision. I think part of that sits because my existing escape room games, Judgment Day, there's a bit where you have to make a decision at the end, and it feels as though the decision doesn't really matter. It's just depending on how you feel at the time. It's fine. It's an interesting ending, I think, but I love the idea of the players becoming very invested in a character that is not them and having to make a horrible decision. One of the things that I have always been attracted to, which again, I don't know if has it been done well? I don't know. Is this idea that you're directing a non-playable character on a screen, but they are a real person. Did you see the Hitman live thing?
No, I did not.
Okay, so I think you can find it on YouTube. If you type in Hitman live, it's basically an actor being followed around by a camera crew, and he goes into a mansion, and you are tasked with assassinating somebody. I think that's what it is. But it's basically the Hitman game, but done in real life. There was also the Project Avatar thing. Who was it that made that? They're really awesome people. Can't remember.
I couldn't tell you.
And that was the same thing. It was a camera mounted to a human. It was in lockdown, and you could direct them to go around this old abandoned factory or warehouse and get them to pick things up and throw things and do whatever you wanted, really. And I think it's like the TV show Nightmare as well. For anyone that doesn't know Nightmare, go and have a look on YouTube. It was an essential part of growing up in the 80s and 90s. Basically, it was like a dungeon crawler style adventure that was done on a green screen, and basically kids would come in, direct their friend to go around a maze, sidestep left, sidestep right, pick up that potion, fight that goblin. And
to be clear, the person was blindfolded.
Yes.
Yeah, who was actually in this world. So they were totally in the behest of their friends, telling them what to do.
Yes, there was a video I was watching last night, actually, which there's a particularly famous death in it, because the kids would die all the time. Obviously not really. Of this kid called Simon, and the people that are directing him just don't know their left from their right and get him to, spoiler alert, walk off the edge of a ravine.
Yeah, they would be. Yeah, they would come off ravines. They'd be burned by dragons.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was some pretty horrific deaths.
And then there was Hugo Myatt, who was the host, who played a character called Treguard. I will also just drop in that he provides a voice in one of our games, The Initiative. Iconic Hugo Myatt, love him. And every time one of these kids would die in some horrific way, eaten by a giant spider, whatever it was, he'd say, "Ooh, nasty." And occasionally he would also make some kind of joke of some kind. He played it so well. It was kind of cheesy, but very legit. And yeah, he was great.
I found Nightmare very informative as well as a kid. It was just, the green screen effects were not good. Let's put that out there, by today's standards. But I'd never seen anything like that before in my life. Just sort of the sort of imagination that you had to bring to that show, as the children would, because they wouldn't actually be able to see any of this stuff happening. It really was just a child blindfolded in front of a green screen, and then Hugo off to the side making comments.
What an idea! What an idea! Tim Childs was a genius for coming up with that.
So back to your NPCs.
Yes. NPCs. I love the idea of them being actors, being actual human beings, and asking them to do things and retrieve things, and being able to interact with them. I think people as a puzzle is something that some escape rooms do, and it's fun and it's exciting. It doesn't tend to happen with the smaller ones, just for for budgetary reasons. You can't have a host and an actor and 2 actors, 3 actors, whatever. But budget's no objective, no object here.
You say it is an escape room experience in some form. How escape room is it? Escape room then immersive, or is it immersive then a bit of a game underneath?
I don't know. I think the two things are kind of bleeding into one, really, aren't they? They kind of it feels like they're crossing over. For me, like what you get some escape rooms that are just puzzle light escape rooms, don't you? And you get some escape rooms that are just very brainy, kind of like puzzly type things. I think the key difference is how the story plays out, really. I use the term escape room just because, for me, anything where it's a group that's going in and they are completing tasks of some kind, it feels like an escape room to me. But
that's good. I think it feels more like active then at that point. You have to bring something to this. It is very much a game then. It's not just like the action unfolds. You have to do things.
No, exactly. It would definitely be an escape room because that's what I know how to design. I can design immersive as well, but it's escape rooms are my thing. So it would definitely be figuring out the right settings to pilot the shuttle back to the bloody moon before it explodes or whatever, or defrosting the other dinosaur that's going to fight this dinosaur, or I don't know, plugging some wires into a thing, but you've got to plug the right wires into the thing, otherwise it's going to blow up. Or
so it's quite fraught, basically, the whole thing, because essentially at any point, essentially the dinosaurs could attack you, things could explode.
Yeah.
So it's in a way it's sort of not exactly like super puzzly. It's more just like this task has to be done under duress, and the duress is a dinosaur.
A dinosaur, exactly.
Okay.
I think that I said alien really, but think of the arc of the movie Aliens, from arriving, everything's pretty chill and quiet, and then all of a sudden the shit hits the fan. They're coming out of the goddamn walls, all of that stuff, building right the way through to get away from her, you bitch, we're blowing the T-Rex. If budget's no object, it's got to be the T-Rex going out of the airlock, probably.
Okay. I like it because essentially then people will be like, I know this is basically Jurassic Park and Alien just smashed together.
Exactly.
I can just see that.
The part of the budget being no object as well would also be to pay for the lawyers to fight off Disney and Universal, who I'm sure they've got quite a lot of money.
Yeah, you've chosen... Does Disney own Alien?
Yeah, they do now.
Right, they do. Right.
They do.
So you've just chosen two of the biggest companies who also build attractions.
Exactly.
To copy.
A couple of years ago, me and Sarah, my wife, business partner, legend, went to South Korea, and we decided we were going to nip over. We were going to fly because it was so close. We were going to fly over to Osaka in Japan because they've got Universal Studios there, and they've got Jurassic Park the ride. They've also got Jaws the ride as well.
Is it the original Jurassic Park ride?
The original Jurassic Park ride.
Good.
So I'm like, I check on the website, brilliant. We book it. I think it was 2 weeks before we were due to fly out. No, it must have been a bit longer than that. It was after we'd booked 2 our flights, but they announced they're closing Jurassic Park the ride to upgrade it to Jurassic World the ride. So I've got a photo of me standing outside the ride. Sad. I got to go on the flying pterosaur, which is like a different thing. Got to see some walk around dinosaurs. Those were cool, but it's still a bucket list thing, that Jurassic Park.
I think it's sad they changed it because it's basically everything's just become blue and grey. They've added like a load of screens, Chris Pratt's everywhere, and they've just sort of ripped a lot of what I liked about the original out. But the original does still exist in Orlando, and so it's still there with the original, pre-show with Hammond and everything in it. It's exactly as it ever was when it was built. So you must go before that. If that ever does get ripped down, it will be sad. But if you haven't been,
I'm starting to just.
There's also Velocicoaster, which is another very good roller coaster, if not my favourite roller coaster ever. It is Jurassic World, but it is phenomenal. You should definitely do that as well.
Yes, that's at the same park?
Yes.
Great. Okay, I'm starting a Just Giving page. I don't know if Alex is going to let me put it at the bottom of this podcast, but send me to Jurassic Park, the river ride, and I promise that if I ever end up in a situation where time, budget, and physics are no issue, that I will make dinosaurs in space in return, and you can have the first tickets.
I mean, essentially, you are going up against Jurassic Park, or Jurassic World, River Adventure, and Dinosaur at Disney, which, to be fair, is not particularly hard to beat, and Velocicoaster, which is, as I say, pretty spectacular. So you have to, and it's in Worthing, so essentially, you're going sort of head to head with that. So essentially, these dinosaurs need to be as real as they possibly can be. Obviously, if we had no physics or budget or time, you'd actually make the dinosaurs.
Yeah, I clone
you
them.
would be Hammond, obviously, yeah. Or we would get robo dinosaurs, I suppose. But then there's also the possibility that they would go rogue, and you'd have a kind of Westworld situation.
I mean, that sounds quite exciting in itself, to be honest with you. I'm happy to do either. If I've got infinite budget, to be honest with you, I'd probably do clone dinosaurs and also make robot dinosaurs and just decide which one's best, which would involve getting them to fight each other.
That sounds very Star Warsian. You just sort of create a clone army, create a droid army, see who wins.
Exactly, see who wins.
Yeah, okay. But yeah, I like that. Okay, so essentially realistic dinosaur chasing you around a space station.
Yes. What is not to like about that idea?
I mean, I think that sounds pretty scary to me. In Worthing, of course. So dinosaurs in space in Worthing.
I said Brighton or Worthing.
So Brighton or It's
probably going to have more people visiting it in Brighton than in Worthing. Also,
why not? Why not get people to come to Worthing?
Well, I mean, that worked for Dream Labs in Badge Stephen.
Exactly.
The nearest.
By the way, Badge Stephen is in the middle of nowhere.
How far away is the nearest airport?
Oh,
like
ages.
It's hour and a half.
And it's like a retirement village where nothing happens except,
the most exciting adventure of
the
your
best
life.
escape rooms in the world. They're just there for some reason. The reason is that the person, like yourself, just wanted to live near the thing they made. And I just want to dig in on that finale, the blowing the dinosaur out of the airlock. That sounds like a pretty big moment. So, I mean, like, the dinosaur, obviously, who's been chasing you around is physically there. How would you imagine getting that out? How would that work?
I don't think it would be the dinosaur that was chasing you around. These are the smaller dinosaurs of Velociraptors. We're talking the finale of Aliens here, but we're substituting the queen alien for a Tyrannosaurus Rex. So we're probably, from a plot standpoint, it's the classic situation where you've had to shut down the power in a certain area because that's how you're going to disable the clamping mechanism on the escape ship or something. But in doing that, you've also shut down the power to the paddock for the Tyrannosaurus Rex, which does happen in Jurassic Park, obviously, but with the Velociraptors. So the T-Rex is out, and you have got to... I don't really know. Like, can we stick a like a forklift or a power loader or something in there? Is that too much?
So you're really leaning into aliens there.
I think in order to not accidentally kill somebody, although I would have the money obviously to pay them off, I think we're probably going into more of a hiding from the T-Rex type scenario whilst you open up the airlock.
Yeah. But essentially I'm imagining what's that moment like. Is it on a screen?
Oh no, that's happening right in front of you.
It's happening.
Yeah,
so you're essentially picking up a gigantic T-Rex.
We've got
and moving it out of into some massive room.
We've got a T-Rex.
So,
I mean, in an ideal world, what you'd be doing is you'd be tempting the T-Rex into the area as the airlock, and then you'd be running out and closing the door behind it. And I think, in the interest of keeping this within the realms of something that you could actually do, despite the fact that budget is totally fine and we can clone real dinosaurs if we want to.
Sure.
The finale, the ending is probably something that happens on a video, because you've got the video of inside the airlock.
And this is where I become disappointed.
Okay, fine. It happens in real life. I suppose if money's no objective, we'll actually blow it into space.
I mean, obviously we do it in space, but then I think if you were like, okay, look, this finale is going to be amazing. I'm going to have like a cinema-sized building just for this last piece, where it's like, okay, literally the door opens and it's like just space.
What? Yeah. Okay. Now I'm with you now. I feel like I've let the side down here by even mentioning screens. Let's go for it. Okay. So it's got to be like the giant hatch opening there with the light swinging around, that some kind of countdown or something from the ship's computer, which has been chatting to you the whole way along. We can also use some big fans to start pulling air and smoke and all that stuff out. Perhaps the players have got to strap themselves in. That probably makes sense, doesn't it? And then we actually can just pull the T-Rex, because I'm now imagining if it's got this walking mechanism, doing essentially a moonwalk. So we're simulating it just being sucked out, and then it's whoosh, pulled out into the dark abyss, and that's it.
I think people would go mental, like if
Yeah.
they saw that. Like,
Can
the thing
we-
is, you can, like, the size of things is possible.
Mm.
So with Rise of the Resistance or the new Harry Potter ride at Epic Universe, there's the scale of some of the sets they've built for that ride. You kind of can't really believe that they haven't just used screens. Obviously they do use screens as well, but I think that, yeah, if you could make that last moment as sort of as amazing as possible, then people would be flocking to Worthing.
It needs to feel like the end of Aliens, the movie. You know the bit when the door finally closes and then everybody just like takes a breath, like.
So I'm thinking, let's bring in reality here.
Okay, that sounds really.
So yeah, let's
sounds like
bring
a
in
crying shame.
So yeah, unfortunately, physics and budget exists, and we're in the real world. You can still have it in Worthing though.
Okay, yeah, that's cool.
But essentially, how would you do this experience? Kind of, if you were like, I would have to actually do this.
If I was making it for real, I mean, I've looked at it. I think that when you have a creative idea, it's wonderful to do something at a huge scale if you can do something at a huge scale. But you can distill these things down to what their essence is. And if the essence is a story that unfolds about dinosaurs in space and the dinosaurs being woken from their cryogenic sleep and perhaps not blowing a T-Rex out of an airlock, that might be a bit more, on the higher budget side of things.
Maybe we do use the screen there.
Yeah, maybe we'll switch to the screen.
Yeah.
But you can dial it back. You can tell the same story. I think it's there's a really great, really interesting interview that I read recently with Noah Hawley, who's doing the new Alien TV show, and he said that the way that he approached it is he didn't watch any of the Alien movies. He said, I tried to remember how it was they made me feel, and then I tried to think how I could make people feel that same thing.
Oh, that's brilliant.
I was like,
That is, yeah, I think that's exactly right. That's exactly how you should approach it. Because I think if you watch everything else, then you'll just be too like imbued by it, and
it becomes a carbon copy, doesn't it? Yeah. You just copy it, and the thing that you enjoy about these properties, which is what the studio execs get wrong when they just rinse and repeat, is it's about the way that they make you feel. It's not because there's a bigger alien or a bigger dinosaur each time. It's because of how it made you feel to see that thing for the first time, the surprise, the awe. So I think that's probably a good place to start. You go, how would I want people to feel inside this attraction? I want them to be there to be tension. I want there to be a build to when this creature, whatever it is, cheaper creature, first appears. And you try and think how you can do that, how you can create that feeling without a giant spaceship, without a giant animatronic T-Rex. An animatronic T-Rex. No idea what a Telerex is.
I think you could. I mean, there's a lot you could do with sound. A lot you could do with like seeing little bits of it. So if you remember Alien, the original film of Alien, you would see the alien in little pieces, and that was actually more scary, I think.
Yeah.
And so essentially, if you just saw like a claw beneath the door or something at a window frame, or like even just like a smell, could be quite interesting.
Exactly. You like you said, sound is a big thing, and I love the idea of that of the idea that it is where you just were, whether that's you can see through a window and it's kind of a bit obscured and that was the room that you were just in and that door is now locked and now the dinosaur is in there, or whether it's screens, but there's a CCTV of a corridor and there's something in there. But I think you hit the nail on the head there with the Alien movie. It's about showing little bits and alluding to it, because your mind your imagination is a powerful thing, and if you give people those little pieces, they'll fit them together to create the full picture.
It's Alfred Hitchcock.
Exactly. Yeah. And if you try and just go, here's the thing, which a lot of people I think is what people want, it almost certainly is. It's almost always going to disappoint based on when compared to what they had in their mind.
I'm always more interested in the realistic idea, because I think the limitations actually will make you sharper at making this piece. So.
I think you should do that with anything, really. Like, it's very easy to get overexcited, and if you were given a huge space and an infinite budget, it's very easy to go, what can I make with all of this money and all of this space? But even when you're creating that that giant idea, that's what you should be concentrating on, is how do I want people to feel? How do I how do I create that within the tools that I've got?
You would focus it down on what the core element would be. I guess would be fear,
dread, but also humour.
And even if you had a budget of, let's give you £100,000,
I could make Dinosaurs in Space for £100,000. I reckon.
You could.
I reckon I could. Yeah.
Well, you heard it here first.
We'll add that also to the Just Giving page. So just so everyone's clear, I'm going to Jurassic Park River Ride. Is it called the River Ride?
It's called River Adventure.
Thank you, River Adventure. Jurassic Park River Adventure. The first Just Giving page is for that. Please prioritise that. The second one is for Dinosaurs in Space. I need £100,000 and we're going to make it.
If you were to give the people at home one piece of advice on creating that immersive project, what would it be?
There's something that happened that's sort of like a standout, which is a weird thing to mention, I think. But when I first started thinking about opening an escape room with Dave Staffel, we started just playing as many games as we could. And the first thing that we were trying to figure out was, how are we going to do this? We've got no money. We've got no idea how to go about doing this. And we ended up playing this game in Wembley called Mystery Cube. Did you ever play Mystery Cube?
I never played Mystery Cube, no.
So Mystery Cube was just like, it was a box in an office, and the puzzles were like, there was one that was like the London Underground, and there was a poster that had some cocktails on or something like that. And all I remember is coming out of the game and feeling like I'd had an amazing time. For whatever reason, the puzzles, like, they all clicked, they flowed, we all had a great time. And it was that moment that I sort of went, okay, right. You don't actually have to have like tons of cash to do this. I mean, obviously it's great and whatever, but had that feeling that we got came from the gameplay, from the puzzles and the experience and how it was presented, and that was like it was a big moment for us, realizing that is the most important thing. I know it seems obvious now 10 years later, but at the time it wasn't. And I always think about the limitations of budget and space, but I think you can make something incredible and compelling and exciting without tons of money. The example I always give is like chess, which is a board with some wooden pieces on, but there's a story which is about this battle that's going on and how in depth and complex it is. I mean, if you can invent another chess 2, then brilliant, great. But otherwise, just be inspired by the fact that it's actually the pieces that are there are so simple, and it's the gameplay that elevates it, and that makes it the incredible game that it is.
Well, indeed, there's no substitute for talent. You look at theatre, you can have a piece of theatre that's just a one-person show with one lighting state and be completely captivated and have the best time and be thinking about it for years, and then go see the new Marvel film, which cost $500 million, and be very disappointed.
Exactly. And I think people get so caught up in this idea that it has to be big, it has to be expensive. How will I do this? And that perhaps maybe prevents people from doing or starting. I think that's another important thing, is just start doing things. Even if you're making something small, or just writing down your ideas, maybe writing your script or whatever, you just start doing things, because that will lead to more things. That's how I ended up with a toilet escape room in Glastonbury, because I just made a phone call, and then after that phone call I sent an email. I just started doing, and you find yourself in the situation where suddenly you're opening Dinosaurs in Space and Worthing, you're cutting the ribbon and the champagne's flowing and it's a big hit. The most important thing really is whether you are being inspired by something, another attraction, or you're drawing from something you love, is to try and find and be true to your unique voice and use that, and that will make you stand out. That will make what you create different and genuine.
Dave, thank you so much for coming in on Inventures. It's been great to talk about your adventure with us, Dinosaurs in Space. And yes, hopefully we'll all be going to the opening ceremony in Worthing sometime very shortly. Thank you very much for watching Inventures. If you would like to see more from us, you can subscribe to Instagram, to TikTok, to our YouTube channel, the COGS Lab, to see more episodes of Inventures and more things to do with my life in COGS. We'll see you on our next invention.